Hello all and welcome. I'm your not so humble Game Master TJ, and this is Dice of Ages presenting CrestVahllen C3, which is the cold... Wait, no. I have it. The Cold Iron Coalition. The CrestVahllen Cold Iron Coalition. Yeah. It's like C cubed.
The problem is we never got to officially introduce ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And now there's only two of us left.
Well, you know,
I'm still packing the cold iron, so
yeah,
at least we got
there's
that.
also like weird stuff when it comes to things looping, dimensions,
Right.
different timelines. So who knows? Maybe like it took you until this time to come up with this name because it had to be until this time to come up with that name, and who knows? And then the whole Masha thing. Yeesh. But anyway, welcome back. Hello, everybody. I hope my microphone is on. I don't want to waste too much time with announcements, but we will be at Genghis Khan sometime soon, starting in February 15th, I believe, is from February 15th to February Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, February 19th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th to February 18th in Aurora, Colorado. So if you're around, come. We'll have a booth there, and we'll be running some games. So come say hi. But
15th to the 18th.
Yep, I got it. I got it right. So let's just get into the recap of what happened last time. Thank you. My Renaissance person told me that my mic is on. Okay, let's do this, and we will do challenges later. Cool. So, after being reunited through the efforts of the Argent Flame, the last two remaining members of the CrestVahllen Cold Iron Coalition, which you wanted to spell cold iron as one word with no hyphen? Cool. Are shunted through a portal as forbidden spaghetti, eventually being deposited in an unfamiliar cavern. Some inspection reveals that the slightly askew level of the floor is met on one side by a wall of metal spikes, which is quickly met again by a ceiling adorned with large, heavy yet movable stones. A scrambled dwarven design carved upon them. An oddly shaped doorway across the room is sealed and set in place with a stone block, with no obvious egress other than a hole lined with obsidian glass burst from the opposite wall. While pondering their next move, a stray step by Bast triggers a trap that tilts the floor further, the spiked wall now inching closer to being the new floor. Purposeful activation of more traps allow the duo to tilt the chamber in order to gain a better orientation for rearranging the scrambled puzzle image. However, the spin's gradual acceleration proves pernicious, as every partial revolution of the room is paired with an increasing area of the chamber becoming covered with spikes. A lot of P's. Oh my God, so many P's. Poked, prodded, pierced, and fighting against gravity, the pair managed to complete the design, allowing the stone blockage to slide away, revealing a galvanized, metal-lined workshop beyond. Suspended by chain... What's up?
The workshop was cold iron.
Yeah, it was a galvanized alloy that had cold iron in it. It was galvanized so it wouldn't rust. You made me lose my place. Suspended by hoisting chains. Oops. By hoisting chains at the workshop center hangs what seems like a humanoid-like construct. Its head near but unattached. A burning sensation on Bast's feet revealed the metal lining every inch of the room's perimeter surfaces to be cold iron, or some alloy thereof. Osfer and Bast reattached the head unit to the machine, and machine awakening the mechanoid, who, after a brief moment of elven enemy combatant panic, stows its impressive array of weapons and introduces itself. Fade, as their name suggests, is a Zek-Tech that seems a bit out of touch with the present, but he is calmly welcome to travel with the terrible twosome for the time being. The three backtrack through the puzzle room and enter the obsidian-lined cavern system, managing to climb their way upwards to the surface, exiting amidst cross-section tomes and shelves. The trio find themselves in a vast, gloomy library, pockmarked with cavern entrances from whatever had bore these obsidian tubes. The group slowly ventures deeper into the stacks, dimly lit by floating arcane flames, and are soon chased by a massive swarm of bees. Bees! The pursuit halts as the gang are met by an assumed resident of the Midnight Athenaeum, introducing themselves as Queenie and agreeing to guide them to the library's caretakers. Great, so that's where we are now. About 15 feet above you, hanging off kind of pirate style from one of the stacks, one of their feet bent, the other elongated in balanced position, is a Ibkest individual of yellow to pale yellow complexion with kind of ibex horns that seem to spiral and go outward. One of the things that I believe is most obvious in this situation is that they appear to have like lichen or other types of like shelf life fungus growing on some of their more exposed yet not obvious perhaps on their face positions of skin, areas of skin. And a good collection of the swarm of bees appear to retreat within their adornments. And as they had said, well, I am supposed to take you to the center? Because is that it where you were heading?
By any chance, do you know someone named Aeon? Are you alive? Or are you a platform?
I'm pretty sure I'm alive.
Can you be a platform and be alive?
Well, all the platforms we saw were dead things.
But, I mean, he did offer to make us platforms, so I'm assuming...
I mean, I can talk to him, but I'm still alive. But I'm also not fungus.
Yeah.
Thing. And she's got some stuff growing. I just was curious if you could talk to him too.
I have heard of some of my other compatriots talk of this type of thing, but...
Compatriots?
Perhaps we should...
Yeah.
Move
caretakers.
to more...
You were taking us to somebody in charge here.
Yes. At the center of the Midnight Athenaeum is where the Grandmaster Ultiarathadian, Archmage of the Midnight Athenaeum, resides. But, were you just here looking for a book?
No, we came up through the tunnels.
Oh.
The obsidian burn holes.
What was the name of the magus?
Ulthier.
Ultiarathadian?
Athradian.
Ultiarathadian. Grand Archmage of the Midnight Athenaeum. It's a thing. Been here a long time. But very good teacher. I like it here. Also, really cool at teaching me how to get into some... Anyway, don't worry about it. So you came up from the tunnels as they just kind of start alighting down on the ground and sashaying towards deeper into the dark. They kind of gesture and more lights. This like blue and white flicker of like flames that appear to be illusory. Create more of an area that you can see now.
Forgive me, you introduced yourself. Did we introduce ourselves?
Oh, right. I guess you're not customers, so please. As they start to walk backwards, across their arms.
I am Bastion, Percival.
Fate.
Are you from Fulmorbed?
He's from downstairs.
Wait,
I'm from below.
You mean the caverns you came from? Well, that's
where we found him.
I don't know a whole lot about it, so
Pretty far below.
okay. I think Ultia would love to have a conversation with you. Probably. I mean, he was like, you're a new thing. Maybe you don't look old.
I am very old.
You are? Okay. Well, I mean, you're a
I'm
Zektek, so you're probably very old. I mean, they haven't made them for like millennia, so.
At least a couple thousand years.
Cool. How does it feel to be so old? I've always wondered about like kind of the perspective that people have, or beings have when they live so long. Like for elves, for example, they live for thousands of years, and like, or however long they live, and they like, is there like a type of like sunk cost fallacy when it comes to like having friendships with people?
I think this one's been asleep for like the whole time.
I've been asleep. These guys put me back together.
Back together.
His head was kind of off.
What do you mean, kind of off? What does that mean? I mean, it was or it wasn't.
Look,
Yeah.
we're not mechanics.
I don't know how that stuff works.
No, neither.
just
I was just curious. Yeah.
Popped it back down, and he went. Brrr, started attacking us.
I'm sorry. What does he go like again?
Don't make me do that again.
I'm sorry. I was only joking. You don't get a whole lot of entertainment here sometimes. I mean, other than the flying dragon, but don't worry about it. I recognize your robes. Welcome. You are from the monastic. I am going to mispronounce it. I'm sorry.
You heard that, right?
Us for Good Meadow, at your service. I'm a monk of the Order of the Open Hoof.
Yes. Sorry, I never tried to actually pronounce the name of your monastery because
It's fine.
when it comes to Solis and the accent and like, and all,
Don't even worry about it.
probably too many meads and too many ventures through the Maudlin Swamp. But anyway, that's actually, if you're from the monastery and you're from downstairs, as you said, where are you from?
The ocean.
She's like, they're just making small talk as they're walking, because this is a long walk. So they're just kind of like sashaying and taking their moment to like turn around and walk backwards as their tail moves back and forth, and every once in a while like kind of jumping off of the stacks in the corridor. And
If I understand where we are correctly, if you walked like straight west until you ran out of land and then kept walking, that's where I'm from.
that's really far. I've never been. I mean, I've been to the ocean to the south, but I mean, because obviously Solis and like beach parties.
I was down there too. Around this island down there, but
Like the big island, like they're near the shoals.
the Riptide Shoals.
Oh, interesting. That's like certain death. Are you cool? Oh, are you cool?
I mean, I survived it. There were some drowning
are
things.
cool.
There was also this somewhat creepy, not to be too offensive.
Do you have
but
like gills?
I can breathe underwater if that's what you ask.
Cool. I have gills too, but they don't let me breathe underwater. They just let me go and make like dust. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Would that short fella
So-
call himself in this time? Would they call him Boots?
Yeah.
So if you know Ankyline, do you know Boots?
Boots. Ah, you mean the short boy?
Yeah. The little gnome fella.
Yes. What was his name? Zebra.
He goes by a lot of names, I think.
Something like
from
that.
what we understood.
Zendaya, maybe something like that. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean it's been months.
We actually just came from seeing them folk. Somewhere.
Wait, really?
somewhere in
Oh,
the
how are
desert?
they? I've been taking care. I've been taking care of the family members. They're like really good. Everything's going on. They're like doing some jobs in the. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. but I hope they're good. They're okay.
Seemed fine.
There was a group of about 6 of them when we ran into them.
Robbing tombs and getting up to no good.
Somewhere all the way out in the desert.
Oh, they're in the desert now.
Yeah, somewhere under the mall.
Interesting. That's a dangerous place to be. I did have a feeling that that's where they were. I did send a messenger as an experiment. One of Ultier's helpful things, helping me try to. I hope she got it.
Why is it so dark in here?
Oh, sorry. Some more lights pop up. So the Midnight Athenaeum used to be a big archive with a lot of information.
Yeah, I remember.
Right. Cool. We're going to get along then. Cool.
What happened
Well,
to all the people?
Some things age like fine wine and other things age more like milk.
You make cheese here?
Well, I don't. But, I mean, I do enjoy a good ricotta, but it doesn't matter. What exactly? Why you're asking why it's dark here? Because it's the.
Why is it dark and why is
think-
there no
Well, it
people?
used to be, at least from what you Ultier said, it used to be like, full of a lot of people, cataloging, reading, taking out
Yeah.
books, those types of things. But, it's just not the whole tradition of teaching the next generation to do the thing is like it kind of fell by the wayside. A lot of
But what
people
happened
kind
to
of
all the
turn to the bardic
people?
colleges instead of these now.
I mean, you
Like,
should probably
Also, it
fix
doesn't
that.
help that there's like holes everywhere, and there's just, it's like Swiss cheese when it comes to how much information was lost.
Do you know what happened?
Kind of not really. Ultier has always been a bit cagey about it, and then there was also that time where he like deleted a bunch of himself and burned a bunch of his own texts. So like,
Deleted himself?
well, there was a bunch of stuff that he knew that was like really powerful, and he didn't want the knowledge to fall into the wrong hands, so he like got rid of it.
Permanently?
Some of it, yeah. I mean,
It's pretty hardcore.
I don't know, like,
So he never gave himself an opportunity to remember in case of emergency?
I asked the same question, and he said, what emergency could possibly be benefit by such unhumane destruction?
The end of the world?
Repeating it? By accident?
Oh, I think he, like, has the... Because he remembers that he did it. Like, he remembers, like, that he deleted it. He remembers, like, what the context of it was. He just doesn't remember, like, how to do it again. Like, he doesn't have, like, the formula for
Well,
it.
what was the context?
You'll have to ask him. I mean, he's pretty cagey about it, so... I mean, I don't blame him.
What
Kind of.
what can loosen his lips? Some beer, some spirits. What
Something you
probably
wouldn't
not.
figure
what's
out
his
here.
poison?
He doesn't really drink anymore.
Yeah.
You should probably just meet him,
Hmm.
and you should meet Lust too. She's really
I mean,
sweet.
we're walking and talking, right?
Yeah, you're walking and talking. It's a long fucking
Yeah, I
walk.
just
Like,
want to make sure we're not just like.
I'm also
standing
giving you
around
guys enough
wasting time.
No, you're good. Like you're moving, you're moving. And it's just the Midnight Athenaeum is huge. You're in the center of Stripes, the capital of the Protectorate.
Yes.
And the capital itself is like 8 miles in diameter. It is a huge. We're talking like Attack on Titan scale. Huge. How this walled city is inside of here. Like they could survive. They have farmland inside the walls, and they could be like completely self-sustained for who knows how many decades.
So you're not aware of how what happened to the people?
Me? I mean, I'm like in my 20s.
Well, from histories and just.
Oh, you mean
being-
for like what he said?
Yes. From your conversations with Uthar,
In regard to what?
the people.
The people, what people,
that
what time?
used to be here.
Oh, you mean they used to be here? So there are some. Every once in a while, you might see. There's Leonard, and there's Bernard. They're like really old creaky fucks with like big old long beards. they kind of trying to keep in the tradition alive of like, oh, and there was what was his name? I can't remember. I'll look it up for you later. I have a record of
Well,
it.
I'm
but
just
there was
talking about the multitudes, the millions of people that used to live here.
right.
What happened to those people?
Well, I mean, the exile of non-humans didn't help.
Exile of non-humans?
Yeah, it was more of a recent thing. The past Lord of Strita was, we think, under the influence of something. It turned out another band of adventurers helped clear the way. It was of some group of individuals and exiled all non-human entities from the city. Many were lost. And then there was the pulsing, and then there was a bunch of other things, but that's more like recent stuff. I think it was just, it's been here for so long and it's so old that a lot of information, and the fact that there's a lot of information is here, has just kind of been fallen out of public interest. And again, it doesn't help that there are so much archives that have been destroyed from all of the obsidian Swiss cheese.
What is up with the obsidian Swiss cheese anyway?
Again, a thing that Ultier is pretty cagey about. He said something about how these fire worshippers creating war theaters to look for certain documents a long time ago. So this isn't a recent thing. These have been here for like hundreds of years.
So they came from down below or from
the way
inside?
Yeah,
here?
they were infiltration attempts
From below.
from below, like from
Where I came
outside and below. So like outside in the big field, in the huge grassy field that surrounds, that's part of like the inner wall, inside the inner wall, because it's a big beautiful field. It's like, fields of grass, kind of Elysium feel. That's outside of the Athenaeum. Is pockmarked with these large like amphitheater like divots, these big old.
What creatures made these holes?
I don't know what creatures, but it was. But what Ultier says is that there was a group of fire worshippers that created these war theaters in attempt to burrow tunnels and gain access to the Athenaeum. It's technically the walls of Strita have never been breached ever, but I'm not sure if people that were already here or under false pretenses, and like they made it through. Obviously, there's so many caverns down below, and they destroyed a lot of information, but they never made it to the inner sanctum. Ultier kind of was in a bit of a funk at that time.
What Ultier seems pretty old, and he's a mage.
Oh yeah, he's like couple thousand, somewhere around there.
How what do you know his race?
Oh, he was human.
He's human.
Well, kind
He
of.
is or
Not
he
really
was?
anymore. He was human.
Was human?
Yeah.
What is he now?
A bunch of books.
He's a bunch of books.
Yeah, he's like
He's a
he's a collection of a bunch of magical books that have kind of like serve as his neural network of brain.
So he is a golem.
I mean, I guess technically.
His consciousness.
He's more like his consciousness is all magically invested in the spire of where all of these books are in the actual tower, the obelisk of the Athenaeum, the thing that towers that goes off into near ad infinitum,
You landed
hundreds of
folks can
feet
be
up there.
odd sometimes.
And he exists
come
in one
across
place,
this
and that's how he
in
like
any of my
gained
travels.
immortality
Me.
or whatever,
So he doesn't have a physical body anymore.
No.
He's just books.
Not unless you count the books, but no, not really. I suppose.
How many books is he made out of?
Oh, millions.
Like every book that you see in
Oh,
here?
not here. No, in the inner sanctum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's like a big. So like the big spire.
So
big,
he must be afraid of fire then.
Oh well, that's one of the first rule of the library is no fire in
No
the
fire.
library.
It's probably a good rule.
So
He
what
also
the-
like has all his spells and
so
all those
what-
books too, so he can just like summon them at any
What's
time.
the best way to not make if we were to ask him these cagey questions, what's the best way to go about that without making him overly cagey and allowing
Good luck.
him-
I've been trying for like a while now. Weeks.
Does he like ink?
I mean, I guess. I mean, maybe. There was this really nice kid here, a while ago. I don't think I think I only met them like once because they came back, but they're in and out. They worked with a printing press. They were like gifted in magic, both in the like scribed ways and also by nature, and they were able to use a new piece of technology that the Razorfang had come up with called a printing press to mass produce, but just make a lot of spell scrolls at once, and help.
So why did Ultir stay behind in an empty, destroyed
You mean like when he was a human?
place like this now?
Well, I mean, I assume once in his search for immortality, he sacrificed the fact of being mobile. Rather
Well,
than
he never
becoming a
leaves
lich.
he never leaves the library, right?
I mean, he can't. I mean, I suppose he could, like, technically cast a spell to create an avatar or something, but
Yeah, how does he communicate if he's just a bunch of books?
he's a bunch of books that have a bunch of spells in them. Magic. He could just send magical messages anytime he wants.
That's pretty nifty.
Yeah, he has all his spells except the ones he wanted to get rid of.
So water and fire are not his friends.
Right. Also, he was jumbled up, like he wasn't referenced properly. Like the up until recently, his books were out of order. So
misshelled.
he's been scrambled for a long time.
So he doesn't know about the Dewey Decimal System.
Every time I say that, he gets really in a huff about like they stole my idea or some stuff. Yeah, he does like he creates like a crumple of paper in the shape of like a fist and goes like, "Damn, Dewey." So not really sure, but like I said, the group of adventurers that came here and helped out before, they reorganized him. But he's been jumbled for who knows how long, and only recently was he. That's one of the things that caused the pulsing, by the way, is that his magic was going off accidentally, and it caused the gravity to reverse, and a lot of people died in the entire city. And a lot of magical waves happened, and so that's why he was deleting a lot of himself, just so in case that doesn't happen again, because who knows if he gets jumbled up again. He could
When
hurt
you
a lot
say
of people.
delete, and since he's a book, does that mean he just
He
burned
incinerates his own
himself?
pages. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, Lady Rhea convinced him to stop doing it, and now he is officially back in his capacity as the Grand Archmage of the Lord, of the Lady of Strita, of the Protectorate. But it's been a long time since that's been there. So, she's technically part of his court cabinet or something like that. He gave her his services to her. She's very sweet, very ambitious, perhaps trying to cleanse the world a little. But, I mean, it's very sweet, very tragic. She went through a lot. She's very young. She's 16 now. I don't want that type of responsibility. Anyway, we're here. These big double doors. There's a big hole right past these double doors. It was the closest hole to the inner sanctum. And then just don't fall into the hole. And then there's another door. We'll have to wait a minute for the inner sanctum to line up so we can go in. But is there anything else you want to ask before you meet them? It's a lot.
Did you say something about a dragon?
Oh, yeah, that's Lust.
Lust?
Lustrasia.
Lustrasia.
Yeah, she's also real tragic history, but very sweet.
Is she gonna be upset we're here?
I don't think so. No.
Okay,
She's
just-
gonna, like, I mean,
It's been a day.
she might want to play with you and you might get hurt, but I mean,
I
whatever.
really don't want to. The sooner I can get to a bed, the happier man I'm gonna be.
Okay. That's great. I mean,
Same.
okay, Mr. Cranky Pants, but
I'll take that in the manner it was meant. But
I'm not actually sure if Lust is in though, so she might be out doing her thing. It's very sweet. She's still a kid though.
I came
wouldn't
back
know
in
by looking at her.
time, then I died, then I was alive, then I died again, and now I'm here. So I need a bed, preferably
sure.
sooner rather than later.
You can probably after you finish. Do you want to sleep like now, or do you want to meet?
I would rather not sleep in someone's building that I haven't introduced myself to.
Okay.
So
It's just bad manners.
If you're, I mean, there's a bunch of places you could stay in the city, but you're welcome to stay where I stay. I mean, he created a nice little pocket place for me.
let's speak with your grandmaster.
Sure. I mean, let's be clear. He's not my grandmaster. All right. I am not. I'm technically a freelancer, politician now, technically, but he's my mentor.
Mercenary librarian.
I like that. Cool. With bees. Cool. Write that down. She pulls out a little notepad made of it's like a wax notepad that she's there writing in. It's like, oh. Doors, double doors open. Huge, tall, 20-foot tall double doors open to this wide but stout corridor with this massive hole about 15 feet in diameter in the center of it. As you go, just mind the gap and walk around it. Appears to also have that kind of maybe small pieces of obsidian, but mostly looks like collapsed.
You guys might want to cover that up.
Yeah, we're working on it. It's just it keeps working its way down the list for other things because we're constantly putting out fires. Anyway, and
I thought you said fire was forbidden.
no, figuratively. Oh man, you need a drink. Okay, so
Nap.
just wait for a moment. And they just lean up against the door, and you hear a big rumbling. Okay, yeah, we're good. Hello, I'm home. And they push open the door. And you immediately see that the space appears to be kind of donut shaped. About maybe 15 to 20 feet from the edge of the wall of the perimeter of this donut to the center, which then has this big cylinder inner wall, spire, as part of it. So the actual corridor is just circular, and the center is the wall of the donut. So just the reverse of a donut, the negative space of a donut. And there are bookcases that line the outer wall, and then there are bookcases that just spiral up constantly, knickknacks and shelves of skulls, crystals, books, tomes, paraphernalia, what looks like stretched flesh of a face of something, all these different, what looks like bits and baubles and veritable assortments of magical accoutrement that appear to of different colors of blues and yellows and reds and greens that adorn this spiraling gradual grade of bookcase that goes up this spire until it's too dark that you can't see any farther. It goes up hundreds of feet. And you notice that there are bookcases lining the outer wall too. There's a couple roll-top desks and things moving around. There's a couple books and tomes flooding about like bats moving about. There's a couple arcane swishes of wind that appear to be moving about. Nothing too opulent. Off on the side, you see what looks like a small cauldron over what looks like a floating magical fire with a spoon moving in it. Very like Merlin cleaning up the house type of thing and Sword in the Stone type of feel. They're just kind of, but they're not like cleaning up. And there's just nobody there. There's a book. There's like a cookbook that is open that's flipping through the pages, referencing itself and then talking to itself. Well, that's not right. Well, I just wanted to, if we put in, like, no, I think I have to breathe it. Hello, I'm home. Oh, a bunch of the fire goes into the pot. Pot twists until it cracks, disappears. The cookbook flutters and gets shoved back in the shelf. A bunch of other books shoved back into the shelves. A couple come out in a bit of a pattern. And there's this big illusory thing as all these books appear to project like projectors into the air before you. This large, bearded, old, wrinkled man face, like, I am the Grandmaster Ultia Thradian. Yes, quite. Welcome to my inner sanctum of the midnight Athenaeum. Boogity, 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 boo. Ooh.
Does he do this every time you come in here?
He's working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's workshopping it right now. I mean, like,
Grandmaster. It's a privilege to make your acquaintance.
he's looking in the wrong direction. Sorry.
We found our way into your vast sanctum by way of the tunnels from down below.
Oh, the tunnels. You just see the illusion. Some of the books start like shifting and the illusion's just kind of like tilting and turning ever so slowly.
I believe my friends here have some questions for you, if you'd be up to having some conversations.
Yes, of course. What happened to be your questions, and why do you... Stop it. Where do you happen to find yourself within my Athenaeum? Do you need help finding a tome of ancient mystery? One that tells of a lore long lost, perhaps? A recipe lost to time of those that held Hargraves' claws and hags' nose hairs?
Can we just get, like, some times and some answers?
Times and answers. Ah, yes. Well, the world of knowledge is filled with infinite questions of times and answers. Is there a particular one you were looking for?
Well, I am 2,000 years plus old, and I am trying
You
to...
don't look a day over two.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
You hear that, Queenie?
So tell me more about what happened, because I remember the Athenaeum being a bustling area full of people.
Back in its heyday, the Athenaeum was a mecca of knowledge and repository.
And what happened since then?
Well, I got a little jumbled up. Excuse me. I was scrambled within my organizational system, so there wasn't quite enough of me left to do a proper chaperone. And there were numerous assaults. There was my fault of hurting a few people. Of course, then there was the war. You were probably there. Once the war was over, many of the peoples isolated themselves into different nations and kind of kept to themselves for a very long time.
Okay, well, let me be more specific then. 123 PI to 1610 EA. Can you describe to me in a better way?
Thousands of years.
Yeah, can you describe to me...
It's not very specific at all.
When the changeover between PI to EA was?
Well, as the number suggests, 1,016 years ago, under the conception of the Bardic University.
So that was a direct switch.
Yes. It was technically I was taking care of those things, and my predecessors were beforehand, but the Bardic University finally got hold of the nations that had split to agree upon collecting information there don't repeat horrible pasts.
So that would mean that I'm exactly 1,733
What was the last year,
years old.
Oh, well, the Age of Enlightenment, the Enlightenment era, the EA, the Enlightenment Age began 1,016 years ago, but there was a time between there where each of their own nations kept their own calendars, so there isn't a universal one to be sought. I did keep my own as well.
Oh, okay.
It is loosely based upon lunar calendars that shift every 4th
Sure,
or 54th.
let's go off of that.
Sure.
What? How many years went by if you were to go by like a farmer's almanac?
Well, as I said, I was scrambled for most of it, but if I had to take a guess, I would say several millennia. Could be 2, could be 6. Somewhere between there, maybe.
I thought you kept an accurate accounting.
When I wasn't scrambled.
So
He gets like this sometimes.
a little scrambled, or a lot scrambled.
Well, you look to be of the architect variety. Not a model I've ever seen before, as like bifocals just appear over his face, and he's like, It's like a floating head, and every once in a while, like it's like this blue illusory gestalt, like
Do
ethereal
you have
thing.
a spell that can tell me how old I am?
I may have, but to my knowledge, the architect are protected amongst many delvings into their inner workings. The Razorfang Agreement made quite sure of that. Wouldn't want to accidentally detonate you, wouldn't I? I'm not sure.
I don't think we will want that to happen. You know.
Should I laugh with you, or should I just be nervous? Yes, quite. Yes.
That would be very bad for you, wouldn't it?
I would prefer if you didn't blow up all over my inner sanctum.
Yeah,
Get your mind out of the gutters.
there would be a whole lot of fire going on.
No fire in the library. Number one.
So, whatever he is, he's sort of protected by this triumvirate.
Well, the triumvirate came about when the Razorfang Agreement
Razorfang,
was struck.
I don't know the word triumvirate. He's protected by these Razorfang folk.
I suppose they're the ones that constructed them. They're the only ones that were ever capable of constructing Zectic, to my knowledge.
The war that he would have been made
The
during,
ancient elven war with the ancient elves, the war with the elves and the ancient Slendian Empire.
it's way over, yeah. Like their side won,
Yes.
their side won, the elves lost.
Yeah, I assume that you would be probably as old as perhaps the end of the war or within it. The war went on for hundreds of years.
So tell me one more thing, because I'm very curious about this. The stuff that came, the invasion that came from the books, from the below, upwards, was that from the same...
No, that was later. It was much later.
Much later. But who invaded, and what happened?
It
Who, what, where?
it doesn't
Why?
it doesn't really matter now, but there were some people who were like all fetishizing fire, and they tried to get inside my inner sanctum, and they didn't. And then they got what they deserved.
How did they, what type of machines did they use?
No machines.
Oh, well, how did they burn through all that?
They
Obsidian.
They summoned a creature that it was more than what they bargained for. Yes.
What sort of creature?
One that was, until recently, still roaming the depths below.
Until recently.
Yes.
What happened to it? Come on, you're not scattered now. Come on, spit it out.
Well,
Come on.
our illustrious compatriot Queenie here was party to those that, in fact, they themselves did banish the creature toward back whence it came.
Where is that? I'm assuming.
Probably to some
devilish hell somewhere.
So they summoned a demon to.
Oh, yes, quite a powerful one. Yeah. Technically, a god of
cultist, man.
torture,
And Queenie here and her
or demigod.
compatriots sent it back.
Why do you still stay here within the inner sanctum? What possessed you to become a book and stay here?
Well, back, if you can tell by my visage, I am not gifted with the longevity of perhaps other lineages. I was rather studious and took advantage of as much time as I could, but without delving down the road of lichdom, I found that cataloguing myself and my knowledge and my abilities in text was the best way to become, this, for all intents and purposes, immortal. But I would have to sacrifice being mobile.
So why
But
not?
I don't live here very much anyway, so.
So why not? Why were non-humans banished? With you being part of the inner sanctum,
I was still scrambled at the time, unfortunately.
So why not re-invite all the humans back?
Oh, they have been for several months now.
What about the repairs to the?
To clarify, the banishment was for the whole city, yeah? Not just this place.
Oh, yes, for the whole city.
It wasn't just like the library kicked out all the humans.
Oh, yeah.
It was the
No,
whole city
Hundreds of thousands
decided
were displaced. Many died.
humans only.
Children, too.
And that affected your recruiting efforts, I'm assuming.
Oh. Bernard, in
Or
their...
not yours because you were scrambled, but
So
whoever
are you
was in
are
charge.
you attempting to rebuild
It's been
the sanctum?
very gradual over a very long time. Something has just... the Midnight Athenaeum itself is just most, to my chagrin, and I hate to admit it, faded into a sad obscurity.
But not anymore. You're trying to revive it.
I'm trying to lend my services to one that I deem appropriate and would have a good moral compass for that, such as Lady Rhea. As far as...
I heard Lady Rhea has some not so pure intentions.
You do? Oh. Well, I'm not quite as familiar with these rumor mills. Do tell.
I just look at the bee woman.
I didn't say that. I said that she was ambitious. What?
Yeah.
And then Ultier looks like, oh? What? I said that she's a little over-ambitious. She wants to, like, eliminate slavery in the entire world in, like, a month. It's not going to happen. I mean, I'm here for it, but, like, she doesn't have the manpower. I mean, she's... The passing of her brother and her father was tragic, yes. But at a mere 16 years old, she's still taking quite the position.
And you would entrust somebody with that amount of knowledge and power
I don't
that
trust
age?
any single individual with the amount of knowledge and power, not even myself, that I have here. Which is why I keep it so well locked up.
Or burned?
Yes, exactly.
Well, you said locked up. I was told that you were burned.
Both, yes.
What's
I mean,
the-
I'm here, locked up, in my not quite ivory tower.
So what stuff have you burnt?
World-altering magics that serve no purpose other than to destroy. Or have a greater potential of destroying than they do of helping.
Why not entrust us with that knowledge?
Why would I entrust you with that knowledge?
Well, we seem capable. And trustworthy.
And you are learned in the ways of the scholarly mage.
At least one of us is.
More of a cataloger than a mage.
Close enough. Wink, wink.
Speaking of which, yes, I recognize that you are from the Waonate Temple. Are you here to get your cataloging in? Are you here for any specific primordial texts and primeval interests?
Nothing specific, but if you have a section.
I have quite a few. However, most of it was gifted to the temples as they deemed themselves. Once the schism occurred, they deemed themselves their hands to be the most capable to protect their types of information. But I have since collected a couple of my own tomes.
What would you say if I could convince the monks to come help you catalog?
Catalog the Midnight Athenaeum. Well, that would be a grand undertaking that might take centuries.
I mean, you seem a bit understaffed.
Well, yes, but
Could the monks help you get back up to speed?
we really don't have a customer base at the moment, anyway.
Knowledge needs no customer.
I tend to agree. However, with great knowledge and great power comes those that should have the perspective to how to use it. Some knowledge is just but a tool. Put the tool in the wrong hands, and
Speaking of which, you have schematics on Zectech.
I have amalgamations of schematics that I have collated from what I know of Zectech, but much of that is kept proprietary by the Razorfang Agreement themselves. One of the agreements that is kept here. Yeah.
So does that mean that I can take a look at it?
You can take a look at my guesses, yes, I suppose. I don't see why not. But if your intention is to create Zectech, I'll have you know that the End War Pact of the Razorfang Agreement is still in effect in perpetuity. The construction of Zectech is still outlawed by many nations.
Perhaps you don't see that I'm a Zectech.
Oh, no, I'm aware that you are a Zectech.
Yeah,
just
so
wasn't aware if you
I'm
wanted
looking to actually
Sounds like the treaty means that
self-reproduce.
no more you can be built.
yeah.
Since the end of the war, you're the last one.
They're going to just take a look at you real quick. You're not any model that I have experienced, and I have seen quite a few. And my memory is as good as I think it is. None of my texts have any details of whatever you may be.
So you have no diagrams of
What
any of the
specific are
weaponry.
you looking for?
Just any additional weaponry or any sort of like ways to fix.
No, I do not deal in weapons.
What about
Repair?
like repair?
You're best visiting an artificer from the Razorfang.
But wouldn't those be extinct since they're over a millennia old?
Oh, good heavens, no. The Triumvirate's entire economy based upon sponsorships and meritocracies, geniocracies, and making sure that they have the most advanced tech of any nation in the world.
So they still exist?
Artificery? Yes, of course. Strides have been
We-
made in Magitech over
We
many
met one of those
millennia.
folks. That was who we were talking to Queenie about, the Boots fella,
Oh,
Greaves.
yes, short.
Her
fellow.
little gnomish friend. He had his own construct. Not quite as good as you, but he has his own walking machine.
Yes, the gift I have been given by them has still, like a bookworm through my many pages, a fungus among us. Not you, Queenie, sorry.
Bottom line, though, is that war ended a long time ago. I'm not your enemy. I don't know if that helps you rewrite whatever you got to rewrite.
Artificery is still alive and well, but the production of Zectech has long since fallen to the wayside and been outlawed.
And the elves are no longer at war with the Zectech.
Are you familiar with how Zectech were created? Do you know why it was outlawed?
No.
That's also concerning that your model didn't have that type of perspective either. With the world that's the Lendian Empire, the Razorfang Agreement agreed the gnomes and the dwarves and others of the mountain range banded together in order to create technology that could battle the superior onslaught of magics that the elves have, or had. They swept across the continent, putting their heel and making all of those bend the knee with little resistance, as none could stand up to the ferocity of the magics. So the Razorfag Agreement was struck, the Triumvirate was created, and artificery became in full swing to create technological marvels rivaling those of the elven magics. However, it came at a cost. Once the Zek-Tech designs were created and a weapon and a defense, a sentinel, proposed to be put on the front lines and perhaps turn the tides of battle, at the very least to create a stalemate. The cost was lives. In order for Exec-Tech to become alive, become a person, have a soul, it must consume a soul or souls. Many volunteered. Many husbands, wives, fathers, mothers volunteered their lives and sacrificed their minds and souls to be invested into Zek-Tech. Their souls and minds were sanitized, and what was left of them was used to be the brain of the Zek-Tech. And they were lost, but many of them, all of them volunteered, and many of them were willing to make the sacrifice in order to protect their daughters, their sons, their children, and their loved ones. But it was still gruesome in a way, a twisted way. And so once the war ended, the production of Zek-Tech was outlawed, because why would they make such sacrifices and create such much more pain if it was not needed?
Wait, so that means he's a gnome?
No, technically. There were many platforms of
dwarf.
Zek-Tech that had several souls or minds
Or
put in them.
human.
But as I said,
So I'm
much
probably a
was
makeup of
sanitized.
several thousand gnomes.
More of the capacity of the mind and soul to be a living thing and to think as like artificial intelligence than was the actual personality. But there have been many cases, as I have documented, of flashbacks or
The
pieces of what they once were resurfacing.
So I'm an amalgamation
The
of
what
all
else?
the souls.
had
That
their own-
was
yeah.
what were
had their own
probably used to
version of
create
that.
you, yes. And given your size and complexity, there were probably several
1,000.
Pretty big for a gnome.
several thousand.
No, I just mean
Really? Several thousand souls? And you are sure of this?
Yes.
My goodness.
the forest guardians that the cops had.
Yeah.
Those were people that had given up their souls too. But I mean, those were more like stone and
Ah, yes, you are
Plants.
referring to the Shalian Guardians.
yeah.
Yes, actually, that's where the Razorfang got the idea, and
Ah.
also where they got the ironwood to create the musculature of such Zek-Tech.
The guardians made the ironwood.
The genius loci of the Shalian cradle had allowed those who would have shepherded and gave their lives to protect the nature a way to live on.
The spirit of the forest.
Yes, the genius loci, the mind, the spirit, the embodiment of the forest itself.
It once told us to go a different way. That was a fun day.
If the forest tells you to go a certain way, I recommend you just go that way and
We did
rest your qualms. about it.
mostly. I mean, after
So what is it that we can do here now?
I don't know. Why are you here? You said you...
Well, we just came up to the library
we just
after
woke
I
him
got
up.
reanimated.
It is an Athenaeum or an archive. This is not a library. Although,
I think there's
the first rule is no fire in the library. We'll get that amended.
I think
Yes.
there's a longer list of questions I might have for you, but if you would allow me to sleep first.
Yes, of course.
Where would a
My
sleeping-
friend and I
Do you not have lodgings in the city?
No.
have been both to the future and the past before arriving here today.
Pardon me?
It's been a long long time since I slept last.
If we could stay here.
Is there a place in the
We would greatly
Athenaeum that
appreciate
we
it.
can stay?
Very interesting. You say you have been to the future and the past, as relative to this current present,
Yes.
the 3rd of Aeon, of the year 1016.
Today is the 3rd, you
Today
say?
is the 3rd of
Wow.
Aeon.
Yes.
How far into the past?
I was dead most of the time, so I can't help you out there.
If you were dead, then how do you remember?
It was how many years? It was before the calamity. However far back that was.
It was before.
From what we understood,
You're
like
talking about, perhaps. Are you talking about the ancient Elven War, or are you talking about the war between the
there was
Virgin
no
Pantheon and
there
the
was no
primevals?
godly magic, godly power.
So, but any magic at all?
Oh no, the man that killed me was doing magic, but it had nothing to do with the gods that we know of.
Well, then before the Virgin Pantheon,
Yeah.
then
All I know is my divine abilities did not work the way they should have.
well, our current Pantheon stole this world and its believers from the primeval entities from before in a great war. And all the primevals were believed to be destroyed, genocide, and their believers cleansed.
So, at least that old.
At least that old. At least before the end of that war. Or the beginning of it.
Yeah, before the beginning.
I found myself in a sarcophagus.
The Midnight Athenaeum was constructed in the ides of that war.
And then I found myself resurrected earlier today, I think. I don't know. Time,
hard to tell
time
right
has
now.
become a weird thing the last
yes.
couple of days.
A weird stew, I would
We
sometimes
don't have a
say.
healthy relationship with it, that's
I don't
for sure.
know when I am. I don't know when I've
Strange
been
brew.
in the last week.
You don't know when you've been. Well, we might have more in common than you may. I have also many gaps of lots of missing time.
I mean, yeah.
You didn't happen to do anything of import while you were in these different timelines, did you?
I didn't. Like I
Yes
said,
and-
I died in the past.
Yes and no.
In the future, I think we're back now. I don't know how much that matters.
You said yes and no?
I taught the monks at the temple in Servach how to forge iron.
Because it's fire in the library.
I see you are referring to the Temple of the Mind, yes?
Yes.
There's a dragon in there.
How to what?
Just rudimentary forging. Manipulating iron from ore into, I don't know, whatever you want it to be.
Well, I'll be a rooster's nephew.
And then I sat in a box
There's a book about you.
for a very long time. A book
Yes. About an entity from,
from the stars.
well, nothing so glorious, but a stout individual who gave the gift of smelting to mankind. Well, so there's such a thing as the butterfly effect you should be aware of. If you find yourselves out of time again, do be careful about what you step on. Accidentally dousing a butterfly from the air and killing it could have far-reaching consequences and end with the absolute destruction of perhaps entire celestial systems.
We have no intention of going anywhere else.
Oh,
in
the
time.
intentions are neither here nor there.
Where? It was not our intention to start this adventure in the first place.
At the very least, it's an honor to meet the great forger themselves. Which is interesting. You know, there's a great full religion about you in the Razorfang.
Are you gone?
Your likeness has been lost to time. Well, I'm glad I got to see you before you scuttled off to whatever mortal coil you happened to end up.
Oh, here is where he ended up.
Speaking
For
of
now.
Yeah,
speaking of
for now.
forging, do you know any techniques, or I guess could you point me to a book that might contain techniques as to how to forge cold iron? Something I've been seeking out for a while now.
I have not gotten that request since the war.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
didn't give it to them then, and I'm not sure I'm going to give it to you now. Are you aware of what cold iron actually does to people?
No. All we know
I mean,
is
it
we-
tortures
We are.
them.
We know what it does to the Fae kind.
Yeah.
It tortures them, changes them, twists them into things that they don't recognize. It
Would
is
it,
what caused, it is what allowed them to nearly drive themselves extinct in a different age and a different time and a different place.
would it perhaps sway you to know that the 1000th deal has been broken? And the mist once again have opened the cradle.
There's only so many fires I can deal with at one time,
Oh,
unfortunately.
speaking of fires,
That's what we're here
what's
for.
up with the dragon, Lucy?
You mean my darling Leslasia? Well, not my darling, but she's very sweet.
I think he's worried about the fact that dragons.
Aren't you worried about the fire? From
Oh,
the
she's quite careful.
She's quite careful.
Well, every once in a while, but she's getting better. She's just a child, although she's growing a lot faster than I would like.
You say you can only deal with so many fires at once.
Yes.
Might we know what else on the apocalyptic sort of level you're dealing with?
Queenie and I are dealing with several diplomatic tragedies at the moment, and many border disputes. The Luamban nation is trying to sue for control over the Dakota Veld. The Zealots have taken over the capital of the Maresian peoples in Babas, and a new regime of religious extremists have brought about new changes. Basically, I'm doing the same job I did when I was part of the Conclave, but not in a part of not having to deal with, well, everybody trying to screw everyone else's plans up all the time.
Not to totally derail you, but an invasion by the Famors is added to your list, as well as
I had heard rumblings, but it's good to know that the Southern's deal has been broken. Unfortunately, once it is broken, there's not a whole lot I can do about it.
Do you have any references of a biological parasitic creature that takes over its host and evolves very quickly?
A moment, please. You feel like a bunch of books and tomes come out and flutter and get put back in and get rearranged.
Did you tame Lucy, by the way?
How horrible. She's her own person. I didn't tame her. Perhaps I'm mentoring her. I didn't tame her. No, she's a person. Goodness. Well, you are old-fashioned, I suppose. Well, catch up.
Dragons are people too.
I do have vague recollection of such things, but it looks like this was something that I erased from my own memory.
So
That would make sense. It's
Very
incredibly
dangerous.
dangerous.
probably why I erased it, so
Yeah.
that nobody else could gain this information.
That has also come back to haunt.
And what I do have is the time that I erased it, which was some in the Ides of the ends of the ancient Selendian Empire, the ancient war, when things just stopped and the elves dispersed and their race became extinct or endangered rather quickly. Sometime around those times is when I did erase this information. But at the time I was part of the conclave, so
I would add that to the top of your apocalypse problems list.
In our travels,
Noted.
it literally causes the apocalypse. All these other squabbles take precedent in other people's lists, and this allows this ichor to fester and take over and basically destroy the world.
it may be worth seeking out an individual or several individuals that might know more about this. I cannot. I can send messages, but
Can you point us in that direction? Give us some names? I don't know how much you erased from yourself.
I used to be part of a group known as the Enduring Conclave.
You son of a bitch.
Their mission statement was to create peace in our time.
So you know Maeve. I mean, Masha.
Yes, I know Marsha. I do not know of a Maeve
That's
off the top
fine.
of my head,
It's
unfortunately.
slip of the tongue. My apologies.
Yes, I know of Marsha. Obstreperous individual to deal with. One of the reasons why I left. But
We never really
I was
saw
working
eye
with
to eye
them.
with her either.
when I deleted this information, so they might know more.
Unfortunately, she's not an avenue we can. They are not an avenue I think we can pursue at the moment.
What was the subject we were just talking about before we moved into the Ica?
Cold iron?
Cold
It's
iron.
forging?
Yes,
The
I really
Fae.
only know one other person that might know more about this. If you don't want to venture all the way to Sonler, ask Marsha yourself or the survivors of what may be the descendants of the Fae, or the Fae themselves. An old friend or compatriot known as Miladoneth may know more.
Is he in the city?
Last I heard, but I don't know.
Okay.
Their
To be
last,
clear, I'm not-
Miladoneth Eryaskala would be their name.
To be clear, I'm not seeking
there-
out information as to how to create more of this. Rather, I have some. We've realized it's a potent weapon against the Fae. We were, before our travels through time, attempting to repel the invasion in the Shalian Cradle. So,
Are you asking me
making
for
new ones.
information on how to create more cold iron?
no,
You're fine.
I have some.
Are we sure about that?
It just isn't very useful to me in this form. Perhaps I could.
You want to forge it.
Perhaps I can.
Only those that created it can work with it.
No,
And that's as much as I can tell you. If the information on cold iron that I keep was one of the things that I decided to keep against my better judgment, and I should have destroyed.
You just got turned on today.
But I wasn't sure if a repeat of the Selendian Empire would ever happen, so I held on to it. Others have asked, and I will not tell them, but should you gain my trust, perhaps?
You said you wanted to pass on your knowledge to somebody's work. To
Oh yes, we're in the process of doing that with Lestrange and Queenie.
I really.
Why,
really,
do you wish to enter my mentorship program as well?
sure.
I really would like to.
What school of magic would you like to begin in?
Was it possible for a Zuctech to do magic?
Of course, Zektek were the original combatants of magic.
Do you need to sleep? Like, do you got to power down?
I need to sleep. About
Because
to fall over.
my friend and I would love to continue this conversation, but there's a place that we can
Of course. I mean, we can start our tri-century program tomorrow.
Take a quick snooze.
Time is no thing to me.
Of course, yeah. Although it may be a thing to these apocalyptic circumstances you are talking about.
Which is why I want to continue this conversation, but
I will have you know, there are many other things I am taking care of, or we are trying to.
from what I remember, I've been awake for like the last...
I think what my
20
compatriots
hours?
are trying to say is they need to get some shut eye.
You have. You said you did not have lodgings in the city.
We do not. If you could provide them here,
I mean,
we
Well,
would
you
be
can
very
sleep in my
grateful.
bed if you like. I'm not using it.
is there a
Works for me.
bathtub on the premises?
I have a swimming pool.
That'll work perfectly.
In your sanctum.
One of, in my own dimensional rift, where I keep many of my own sundries.
Oh, so that's not on the premises.
Technically, it's on any premise,
Can I get into the pool?
if you ask nicely.
Please.
There you go. It's just-
It's not...
You're scrambled for a few thousand years, and everybody forgets manners.
That was more a question of like possibility than a permissive, but
We'll revisit
turned into
the
permissive.
mentorship program.
I understand.
Queenie's just in the corner, like, enjoying every second of this exchange.
We'll revisit the mentorship
Oh, so
program
you're
after the
gonna be
rest.
Here when I get up, aren't
Sure.
you?
Of course, yes.
No, I'm
yes.
not going anywhere.
We will have to start off with beginning to know what is magic, what is the breath of life and everything. But, sure, everybody can learn magic. Perhaps unless you are... Well, we'll get into that later. I'm beginning to collect, and Queenie just comes up beside you, like, "You're tired, yeah? I'll show you the way, yeah? So if you just pull this book
Thank
here, the portal opens this way, and then he's got... there are... how do I say this nicely?
I guarantee it's not going to be any weirder than the other places we
You have to
slept
slide down...
recently.
It's actually kind of fun, but you have to be into it. Pretty much, in order to get from one place to another, you have to slide down some fire poles and some silk banners. It's cool, though. There's some slides. There's one silk banner that just takes you. You can slide right into the swimming pool.
I'll just hop straight in.
Oh, there it goes.
It isn't weirder than
Thank you for your hospitality.
than the way the elves do it. So
I appreciate it.
Oh, welcome! What a world! What a world! You guys hop in. Queenie hops in after you. So there's about like 122 rooms. It's a bit of a labyrinth, but it's mostly books. A lot of the furniture is made out of books. If you just think about where you want to go and you keep walking, you'll eventually find yourself there. The whole dim light thing, I can't do anything about that. I've tried. No matter how many torches I light, it's just like a thing. Apparently, it's like an old man thing about needing dim light.
That's okay. I'm pretty old.
Now, also, anytime you sit down in the chair, the sound of a crackling fire just happens. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry.
nice touch.
Big pool, big giant water-filled pool.
You continue walking down a corridor where the books just kind of like continue to like build to create part of the corridor, and then they give way to a blue, dully lit room that appears to kind of like when you have a light that doesn't really give off a lot of ambient thing, but then you put it to like a crystal or like a glass of water, and then it like when you put a LED next to like a tank of water, and it just makes it glow and it disperses a lot better. And this kind of glow that first seems dim and then seems somewhat blinding, and before your eyes adjust. And there's this just massive sphere of water just suspended in zero gravity, floating in the air of this almost perfectly spherical room with room outside. There appear to be some like ladders that go up to not awnings, balconies that you can
Platforms,
like
yeah.
platforms that you can jump off into and like exit. It's like a 3-dimensional sphere pool.
You know where I'm gonna be.
And there's like anything you could like want as far as like sundries that you can bring in to that thing if you want to.
I'll try to find some rooms near here.
Cool.
Whale bath.
You think of an oil bath, and you continue walking as the books give way to a brass and like type of bronze. Before it, there is this wonderful kind of Japanese sauna style with like the wooden wall down the center, but it's not wood. It's made to look like wood, but it's actually this type of brass that like many horned instruments are made out of. And it's this bowl that dips in. It doesn't go like edge and then rounded corner and then down. It just like slowly dips in as if you took your hand and just carved like very gently a hole out of the sand. But it's metal that's been like bent and melded and folded into it to create this very opulent billionaire, like richer than God type of like swirl ammonite. That like those cool sinks that are like ammonites, that is fully brass, that makes it look like gold, that just has boiling oil in it.
And I dip on in.
Yeah.
I think about my rooms at the temple. Well, my room.
You think about your room and the temple as you're walking down the corridor, and part of the wall just juts out, and there's a stone slab that's just in front of you.
Works for me.
Nothing else, just a fucking stone slab in the middle of a corridor.
Works for me.
Cool. You got it. And you guys head to bed. Queenie's like, is there a time you wanted to wake up, or are you guys good? I mean, also, I'm not your alarm clock, so, I mean, good fucking luck, but...
I mean, I'll be up in about 4 hours.
Same.
I sleep a little longer.
This one takes about twice that.
I think mine's about
Half the size, twice the sleep.
Yeah, you still need 8 hours.
Of
You just are inert. You just don't go to
Downtime.
sleep.
you're in sentinel mode.
Yeah, you sleep
Yeah.
mode. When you take a long rest, you must spend the length of the rest in an inactive, motionless state rather than sleeping. You appear inert, but it doesn't render you unconscious, and you can see and hear as normal. But you still have to take the long rest.
Okay.
Cool. Queenie's like, well, sweet dreams, I guess.
I mean, if you just want to, I can hang out for 4 hours if you just want to come back in 8.
Yeah, I only need 6 hours. That's what it says.
Well, technically, long rests are like 6 hours with 2 hours of downtime, but I don't do it. I just say
Okay.
8 hours just to be done with it because I don't want to deal with it.
Fair
It's
enough.
stupid to get.
If you want to come back in
semantic
8
about
hours, and when this one's awake, we can all go back out together.
that. You want to go to sleep now, right?
I am beat.
Okay. I mean, I have to go to bed too. It's just it's just a little early for me.
Oh,
So probably by the time you wake,
I mean, we can make ourselves busy for an extra couple hours if you need it.
I mean, you said you were really tired. Do you want to play? It's
No.
been a while. Okay.
I'm going to sleep. As much as elves sleep.
Osfer is
You know
already
that.
asleep.
Osfar's already camped out on his slab. there.
Okay. I mean,
We'll be
All right.
awake in 8 hours. If you are still asleep at that time, come back and find us when you're awake. I'm not going anywhere.
so just one thing before you go to sleep. You said you met those other individuals. Big red beard, tiny little dude, likes tech.
Redbeard, the little artificer dude, the one with the
Tall Maitan who
snout
likes
ears,
purple.
Yeah. There was the human that was with him. He was kind of a weird fella.
Blonde.
There was a bugbear.
The bugbear that like wasn't always the bugbear.
Like the blonde human and the big furry guy.
Is Michael blonde? No. Human was
Brunette.
brunette.
Huh.
Brown hair.
Maybe he dyed it. If you
Yeah.
If you see them
And then
again,
there was the one that it's like kind of like your kind of folk, but he was red and not green, and he had like lightning.
in the Ibcast, yeah.
Yeah,
Lightning.
some
Cool.
blue glowy thing that looked like.
I'll write that down. Cool. Get blue glowy tattoos.
But yeah, we met them.
Well, if you see them again, could you give this
They're the ones that brought me back.
to the one who likes purple, the mage?
I can take it. I don't
And
know
they
if
hand
we're
you this
gonna
like
come
kind of like
across them
slab
again.
that's like this wax paper, this wax page, like beeswax
I
page.
can take it, but
It's got all these like
I
runes
can't
and
promise that I'll be able to pass that along.
complicated like arcane stuff on it. It's been learning, but she got the last message I sent her, but I was just
Okay. Like I said, I'll take it. If I see him, I'll give it to him, but can't promise that.
also. I mean, if you need to, you can use it, but
I mean, they're halfway across the continent,
Yeah.
underground somewhere right
Yeah.
now.
yeah, I really should. I should call. I should call. I've just been so busy, and when it comes to deployment. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll let you sleep.
What is this that you want us to give to him?
I mean, you're asleep.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's like a wax
It's
tablet.
like a wax page.
Yeah,
Like it's so instead of made of vellum, it's like made of beeswax.
thin beeswax.
Yeah.
Some sort of scroll.
Yeah.
Spell scroll.
And they leave you to it, and you guys can take a long rest. We will. It's like a little early on the 3rd of Achiel. It's like kind of like in the early evening, so which is why like was a couple hours. But it's fine. You just wake up like super early the next morning.
Okay.
So
I
it'll
don't know.
bring you to the morning of the 4th of Achiel.
Because of all that's happened time-wise, I'm pretty sure it's
We could
been a
also
day.
sleep in. Like
Sure.
It's not.
So
Yeah.
it'll bring you to the morning of the 4th of Achiel. We're going to do one thing about, I guess, technically 3 things, because one for each of you before we go.
Yeah. I swim to the middle of the sphere and just like lotus pose it. And
You got it.
trance for my 4 hours.
Both of you need to roll wisdom saving throws for me, please.
Is this a charm effect?
This is a nightmare effect.
Okay.
Oh, that's
okay,
not
that's
bad.
good. That's good.
19.
19,
22.
22. You find yourself in a dreamscape together, surrounded in
How the fuck does this keep happening?
blackness everywhere, void. Like you are lit up, like you can see yourself in like like daylight, but you don't see a source of daylight. It's just black as far as the eye can see. You feel like you're stepping in about like an inch of water, and everything is just Vanta black. You can see light glancing off of like the waves of liquid that you're stepping in, but no source. And you are no more than like 50 feet from each other, and you're like there. You just find yourself there. Your kind of subconscious becomes into existence as you are just both standing there.
Man, this dreaming thing is not supposed to happen.
I mean, last time all this happened, nothing good came of it. So I don't know.
It's not at all familiar to me, is it?
It's similar to how Log has his dream and
No,
those
I
types of
mean,
things, but I
the
don't think you've
past.
been in there.
It's not like
I just don't
my
remember if
previous
you've been in
visits.
Log's dreamscape at all.
No. To the crack. To the fathoms.
No.
Okay.
You're not submerged in this way.
I just mean when I talk to my patron, it's usually
Yeah, I mean, same like darkness aesthetic and void in all the directions, but not like the pressure of the ocean and being submerged. It's a little bit more like you feel vulnerable, a lot more vulnerable. There's this, not this sound, not this voice, but this idea that creeps into your mind of you called, you summoned me by name. Strike your deal, or I will strike mine. It doesn't have a voice, which is why I'm not like giving it a voice. It's literally just the idea. It is like Inception. The idea has been left in your brain, and you
Both of us?
occurs to you at the exact same time, like a compulsion.
I hate deals. Didn't you make a deal? Isn't that how you end up with all those purple eyes?
Yes. But can I make a deal if one already holds a contract
You
on
asking
me?
TJ?
No, I'm kind of like thinking
Okay.
this back.
Thinking out loud, sure. There's a moment where you feel like the gravity gets heavier as you feel like your wrists and your ankles start to get pulled down, and the liquid has like come up and wrapped around you and started to like pull and tug on you. Not like restraints, but just like come back to bed type of feel. And the idea again is like, you know, the name has been spoken.
Oh,
What dreams may come, a deal must happen, or I'll make 2 1. Oh, and we'll change this music.
Too whimsical. I didn't summon you.
I mean,
I want no part in this deal.
if a deal must be made, we are in need of a way of cleansing the Ica, as we call it. Can you grant me that power?
You get the sense, I'm going to talk in more third person senses now. You get the sense that it is not asking for you to make a deal in exchange. You have already done the thing. You already got your part of the deal. It wants its pound of flesh now.
It wants payment.
It wants payment for saying its name.
We didn't say its name.
No, you didn't. But its name was spoken. And you're the ones that apparently can get to.
I spoke no name.
Didn't get to you until now, though. Until in your dreams.
I spoke no name. I make no deals.
Cool. Roll an intimidation check for me.
Dang it.
Is this magical at all?
6.
Because, I mean, I can't magically be put to sleep.
This is correct. This isn't magic. This is like biological.
Okay.
It's like brainwaves stuff, like beta wave type of thing.
Difference between psychic
Yeah.
powers and magic
Yeah.
powers.
If psychic was explained scientifically and biologically more.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
6. That was an 18 and I
6.
rolled over to a 5.
You feel the liquid like pull on you as it like pulls. It goes through you, very like Final Fantasy spirits within style, like kind of pulling your soul out, grabbing onto your soul, like the superimposed image of yourself. But rather than it being like an ethereal soul, it's your like hybrid wolf form that's getting pulled out. So as it's pulling from your wrist and it's passing through your fleshy halfling skin, it's pulling out the hairs and forcing them to protrude and grow on your hands as your skin is stretching and a hand like melted cheese becomes pulled out, and claws of the wolf, like the wolf part of you, is being pulled out and forced to the surface.
Like it's forcing me to transform?
Yeah,
Or is it separated?
it feels painful.
You hold no sway over me. I
Okay.
have struck no deal.
Roll wisdom saving throw.
That's cocked. You know what? I'm gonna go for the golden goose here. That's also, god damn it. Okay. That's okay. That's 15 plus wisdom is 3, 18.
18. You
Golden goose.
sit in your confidence. I'll say, like, with that, you kind of get the sense of what's happening here. Whatever it is, it's like when it said what was once two will be one. It's saying, like, give me my pound of flesh, or I'm gonna make you permanently a hybrid, and like you won't be able to go back to your like form. Like, you're gonna have to stay in this like forever. You're gonna have to stay in this until I say so. Like, I know what plagues you. I'm gonna make you live a nightmare, which is like neither wolf nor neither werewolf nor person, but somewhere between, like the monstrosity that is between. And they're like forcing that to come to the surface. It's painful, but for some reason your confidence remains. What are you doing, Bast, as you start to feel the same thing? You feel like you're not afraid. You're not afraid, and that fear, that not being afraid, seems to like lessen push the pain to the back of your brain.
I belong to the spirit of the water, the king of the seas. You have no power over me. We
Roll.
are not, though, the ones that owe you.
We know where that guy is. If you want to go talk to him.
Wisdom?
Roll an intimidation check. Unless you're trying to persuade, I guess. But I think this is
23.
23. Nice. So, I'm just double checking my. You feel it recede from you. And the idea again comes in. Not the voice, nothing, no clicking, no swishing, no sounds. The idea of what tainted flesh is not worth my efforts. My brother owns you already. And suddenly there you hear the sound of like a tidal wave off in the distance as the liquid seems to be rising, and before you know it is upon you and crashes into you, and you spin, not knowing which way is up, before you both wake up in your respective times.
No.
Do I have wolf claws? No.
Do you have wolf claws?
I'm me.
Do you check?
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do?
No, I just look at my hand.
Yeah.
Right, because it was being pulled out of my hand and feet. Right?
You could use a valve, but that's about it.
Okay. Oh.
You look and you're like, is that fur? And you're like, oh no, I'm just dirty.
Fucking dreams, man. Fuck that hairy fucker. Got us into this bullshit.
Can you please roll a wisdom saving throw for me?
I wake up and curse the name Lock Jammin'.
Jamin. Up top left, yeah.
18.
18. You have this moment when you're in this inert state where the whole thing of the brain putting short-term memory into long-term memory, where you're collating what has happened and like, referencing it with all these other things, and just mechanically doing what the human brain does. And there's a couple. How do I say this? There's a couple conflicts, paradoxes
not fatal errors, but errors, like inconsistencies that you do bypasses in order to fix. But every once in a while, as you are, and it's not like code. I don't want you to think about it as like it's code. It's just your thought process just is different, is just more referential than it is organic, because you're still technically like biotech because of the ironwood. So you're not like Terminator style, like code, but it's best it's easier for it if I can explain, like, as you are moving stuff and committing stuff to your long memory in this inert state, some intrusive thoughts happen, words that you didn't come up with, that just get put into, like, golden fields or like whatever, just like any just random words like pineapple pizza, doesn't matter, that just get thrown into these intrusive thoughts, that get thrown into that kind of like be like, wait, no, that's trash. Why is that trash? It's like dead code that you're like, stop it. And it's causing you to like have to put more effort into it.
Like subliminal?
Kind of, yeah. Like, and it's not necessarily like flashes. It's just like thoughts, just little intrusive thoughts. Very ADHD brain type of thing. But it's an annoyance. It's kind of like things creeping in where like none of your systems make any sense for that to be happening. You are less a robot. You're not a Terminator. You're not a robot. You don't have a bunch of coding. You have missions, and that's like kind of instilled into you by the spirits and the souls that are inside of you. And sometimes it's easier to reference that when we're talking about like as code, but it's not like that. But it's like there's junk code in you. It's like every once in a while, and it sounds like.
But I'm like sifting that out and tossing it in
You
the
are,
trash.
but it's a little annoying. Like, I think it's probably the first time you've experienced it because you just woke up.
Defragging.
Yeah. Kind of defragging. But the defragging is like parts of communicative sentences, not like just a jumble of characters, if we talked about it in that sense.
Can I take these junk words and make a sentence out of them?
You can try. With that roll, I'll say it's just a bit. It's just a bunch of perhaps maybe one to 3 word phrases that don't really make a whole lot of sense. If you want to like take all that stuff and like save it and like commit it to memory and be like, I'm gonna put this to sort through for
Kind
later
of like
once I
some
have
type
more
of
info.
Scrabble type.
Sure, yeah. If you want to make like a junk folder in your brain to just kind of like be like, I don't have enough information just quite yet.
I want to quarantine, like if it's
You got it. You
possible
want to partition it away. Yeah.
quarantine it so it
You're
doesn't invade
compartmentalizing
me.
it. Yeah.
But like,
But you don't want to forget it.
but not forget it completely because it might be important. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, you can start that process where you're like starting to
Do I need a roll for it?
keep the
now?
junk. No, that's all rolled into that 18. Like, it's not enough for you to be able to do anything right now, but it's noted that you are saving that info.
Okay.
Even though it seems like junk. You got it. You guys wake up. It is the 4th of Achiel. You don't really know what time it is just quite yet. But yeah.
When
what-
I woke up,
Mhm.
No squeaks.
was it like the last time I got sort of slapped on the hand and woke up? Or did I just wake up?
No, you just woke up.
Okay.
You feel lighter. You feel like you got away with murder type of feel. Like you got off scot-free of something.
Okay.
Unless we're going to take our break, we'll be back. We left off with you guys waking up on the 4th of Achiel within the inner sanctum of like a dimensional space that Ultier, in his infinite prowess of magic, was able to create. What would you like to do?
Can I do a couple of things since I have a couple extra hours before
Sure.
these guys wake back up?
Yeah. Regale me.
So I wake back up and I'm me. There wasn't any weird strangeness that happened because of that dream.
No, but like physically, no. But you do hear a voice as you wake up. And it's not like, again, like you, because you're elf, you don't like sleep, you trance. your trance. You ever space out so much that you don't see what your eyes are actually seeing, and you see what's happening in your mind?
Sure.
It was more like that. And it wasn't like full sleep, but you were still like dreaming. You were like on the borders of dreaming, that type of thing.
Okay.
Which just happened to y'all and Maeve and the elves quite a lot, right? So you do hear a voice when you wake. I don't know if this voice is familiar to you. It sounds like, "Oh, good morning there. I'll add your name to the pile." And that's it. And it just fades away. Like in that, like, dreary, like, yeah, good morning. Wait.
Who the fuck said that?
Hello?
No response.
Try to connect to Onculine.
Hello. Things are a little hectic. Whoa. Around here, like, trying to resolve a bunch of. Hi.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you're at least still able to talk to me now. When I tried
Kind of. I
yesterday-
mean, what do you need?
Nothing. Just making sure you were still there.
Okay.
Go back to whatever you need to do.
Yeah, stop doing the time thing, okay? Because when you bring me through time, and then it just cuts off.
Okay.
Me too, man. Me too.
Next thing, I want to, still in the pool, I want to transform into whatever full animal shape I can transform into.
Sure. You got it.
Can I pull out the, like, seal, walrus, whatever it was? Or do I have to go wolf form?
You mean like the claw?
No, in my dreams when I've transformed into my were form,
Yeah.
it was like a walrus.
Oh, it was like a seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seal. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Are you
Or-
trying to mold it to your purposes a little
No,
bit
I'm
more?
trying to see if I can.
Because you can transform into the whole shark thing as your.
Yes. But that's Elven.
I think he's
Through
just confirming that it still works.
lycanthropy, I want
Yeah.
to turn into my were form. But
Got
see
it.
if
You're
I
checking
can,
to see if you can still do it.
Yes.
Yeah, you got it. You begin the transformation. It's
I don't know if I end up as a wolf or as a.
smells like wet dog when you're transforming because you're in the water and it doesn't feel great. The bones begin to crack and the hair begins to grow, and the snout begins to elongate, and the nails begin to protrude, and the fangs begin to overlap over your lips before your snout catches up with them.
Instead
this
of
form-
hybrid form, I'm trying to go full.
Yeah,
Animal
like full animal or werewolf. So the hybrid is like
No, animal form is what I was aiming
an
for.
actual quadruped wolf.
Or the seal if I can do that instead.
Okay,
That's what I was saying. Like, if I go full animal, can I go
right.
that
Because
direction?
so just so I make sure, like we set the precedent for you have a hybrid form, which is like kind of woven like, but still looks like halfway between a human and a werewolf. And then there's like full werewolf form that's like just a bipedal, like bulky wolf.
Yes.
But you want to go full actual animal, our world, either seal or actual like gray wolf.
Anytime I've transformed in my dream, I've gone seal.
Yes.
I want to see if I can do that in the real world. If I end up in
Okay.
full wolf form, that's what I end up as.
Cool. Yeah. Roll a charisma check for me.
12.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. 12.
I want to go full animal form,
Sure.
aiming for seal, If I end up as wolf, I end up as wolf.
So what happens with the 12 is that you go full werewolf upper body, like bulk, kind of dark horror style, and your sea elf takes the rest of the way and plus shark fin. So wolf plus shark fin.
Okay.
Werewolf plus shark fin is what happens,
I really hope no one walks in on that.
which is disturbing in a kind of cool way. I don't know.
I want to spend some time just sort of swimming around.
As in that form?
Yeah.
Cool. It's so top heavy. It's
I mean, it's a spherical.
no,
pool.
I
It
know,
doesn't
but
matter.
you just look funny.
Sort of. You know how when you work out, sometimes it can be like meditative. Like you kind of get into
Like
different
runner's high
headspace.
type of thing. Yeah.
I just
sure.
want to sort of calmly swim around in the sphere.
You got it.
But
This kind of cathartic, trying to get in touch with more of your bestial nature.
Yep.
You do so. There is a moment about like an hour before you realize everybody else would wake up as you're doing this, where there is a book that was, you're not sure what it was, but there's this book now that's now just like open and facing the sphere on one of the ledges, the platforms that's like, just like a foot. Gives it a bit about a foot of a berth. It's just facing you. It's open.
okay,
Just kind of came over and opened up.
swim over to it.
Looks
I'll go
like
back to Bast.
like a menu, like a restaurant menu with a bunch of seafood in it, seafood options.
I'll pick whatever looks good.
I mean, there's a lot that looks good. What are you craving for now? There's sushi, sashimi. There's
What's the closest to like a kelp salad
a kelp salad.
or like
There's like an okra with
what would be home?
vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like some like kelp and okra with some urchin, perhaps. It's not necessarily vegetarian, but it's probably along the lines that you would have eaten.
Right.
Yeah, there's something like that.
I'll take that one if I'll point at it on the book.
Book closes, nods, goes back to the shelf, puts itself on there.
Thank you.
Chairs like very magician's apprentice, sorcerer's apprentice style. Walked over with the table that's like there as
Can you
plate starts to get set.
move out to where
Fork
the
jumps up.
the little
personified.
guy's sleeping on the stone slab out there? I'm gonna go have my breakfast with him.
You see the candle that was about to like hop onto the table and be your little like candlelit breakfast salutes with its flame and then just hops off and goes down the stairs.
Follow after it.
It goes like,
Look back.
like your food is getting prepped for you on the table.
Oh, you're gonna bring him here? Ah, gotcha. Thank you.
It bends and snaps and falls over, and it's like, and it freaks out for a second before another wick grows out of the broken one, and they both look at each other, and one goes back to your table, and the other one goes to fine.
I'll go back to the table.
Cool. That's delicious. You gonna read the note?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Osfer, you get woken up by some firelight, as you're used to, and a little bit of a breeze as a candle comes to you. And you look, you're just dirty. You could use a bath.
No wolf. Okay.
There's this little candle that appears to be like somewhat personified, like animated. That with this little flame, it's
Fucking magicians, man. So yeah, follow the flame.
follow it. Cool. While you are in the oil, eventually there's like steam that happens after a while, and the oil starts to go into like a cleaning cycle as most of it begins to drain. And there's this like kind of like airplane, like lights that kind of like lead in a dotted line out of the room into the corridor.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else you want to do.
I'll just follow the.
Cool. You guys will eventually find your way back to this, but before you do, you wanted to read the note to yourself?
I'll
or-
wait for Osfer to come.
Okay. Osfer is closer, so he'll show up first. And you see Bast enjoying a very nice little meal with some aquatic stuff. Looks nice and clean. Has like a little tuft of wolf hair here that's like still in the process of melding back in. He's up there on one of the platforms.
Ah, Osfer. Can you guys get a menu for my friend here?
And
Apparently they're serving us breakfast.
another menu comes over to you. It's a corner of its page kind of goes like. And there's a bunch of like farm fresh village dishes.
I'll have
Farm
the steak
table.
and eggs, home fries, biscuit, with a side of gravy, please. I'm gonna eat the fuck out of this breakfast.
You see like a chair like walking up backwards up the stairs to where they are so that it can be another chair at the table as a plate rolls up there and a fork is like bouncing up there as well. And they all kind of collect before just the dish itself kind of invisibly floats out of like one of the stones, one of the like the large flagstones kind of like just gets pulled out very labyrinth style, and the dish kind of floats out, just gets set right in front of you. And you guys are sitting there. It's fucking
It's impressive.
fresh. These are like ostrich egg omelets, and like the steak is like rote meat, and it's really fucking good. Definitely smells like when you went down to Tacona and you got some of the real fresh tributes.
It takes me back. What's that?
This is the first real moment we've had since since we all got split up. Maeve gave me a note.
And yeah, read it?
You know, I had about an hour after we got thrown through that portal before I died.
Oh shit, I was awake for like 500 years.
You've been with me since then, so no, I haven't read it yet.
You sure you want to?
That's
I wonder if she's just messing with our heads.
well, it was Maeve, it wasn't Masha.
I wouldn't put it past Masha to pull some fuckery here.
No, it was before we went into the club.
She who messes with time. That's all I'm saying. But if you
I
think we
think-
should read it, let's read it.
I am of the belief that the Maeve we knew wasn't the Masha that we knew yet.
Fade, you arrive at this room during this conversation. You can hear it kind of echoing from down the hall, and because this is a very big room, it reverberates quite a bit. Do you want to like stand back, let them have their moment, and kind of like eavesdrop, or are you gonna like make your presence known and interrupt? Or do you want to leave?
I'll just barge in.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Just looking up. Hey.
Do you eat food?
I don't know.
You don't eat food. You can try, but you don't have a mouth.
Mr. Menu Book,
you
you got
can,
any
you can do the thing where you consume metal to repair yourself.
You got any breakfast for my construct friend over here?
Book comes out. Walks over the shelf, looks at you like a cat, and just knocks over like a metal carafe, and then goes back to the shelf and puts itself away.
You remember her ripping this out of that tapestry?
Mm-hmm.
Does it still show the Urielor estate from the tapestry that it ripped out of? Apollo is making a nest for himself.
Does it still show the Urielor estate that she ripped out from
the tapestry.
From the tapestry
In the future.
in the future, buddy?
I took it to the past.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. It does.
Do I notice what this tapestry is since
There-
I'm from the past?
I mean, they're just like it was before. There are some people abouts. It's hard to make out what they are because it's a little bit more impressionist. They also wrote a note in blood, I believe, on the back.
Mhm.
I want you both to roll an Arcana check for me. Sure, what's up?
When
You're
he-
quite a ways away. But
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
get to reroll. this.
when he shows off this picture,
Okay, that's
does
much
it trigger anything for me from my past?
You're like about like 2 floors down from like the platform that they're on. Do
Oh.
you want to like go up and like join them?
Yeah. I thought I barged in the room. But,
Yeah, the room is this big sphere with this sphere of thing with this sphere of liquid floating in it, like massive. We're talking about like several floors tall, and there are stairwells that go up to other platforms of which you can
Oh,
jump
so-
off into the sphere.
So they didn't hear me when I said, "Hey guys."
No, you were like, hey guys, and they're like,
Oh, okay.
they know you're there.
Okay.
You're not being shown this, but do you want to just like make your way
Yeah.
up there? Cool. What's up? And then I'm sorry, I meant to say whatever you have, add +2 to it
Okay.
as well on top of that because of what you've experienced. Because this is a very specific type of thing. What'd you get?
17.
Hey, 17.
17, both of you, really. Oscar, you remember when Meckel was describing how, like, I don't think these guys are long for this, like, particular spot in space and time when they were with you? Like, I don't think they're, like, I think they're slipping. That type
yeah.
of thing. You recall that, and you recall, like, the sensation you felt when you were there, and you feel it in your fingertips when you hold this tapestry. Like, it is... like this piece. It is not necessarily like slipping, but
It's out of its place in time, and it
it
feels
is.
weird.
And it is also, because of that, could succumb to its existence, and how it appears is in flux.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And could be influenced, even though it is a painting.
I guess we read it.
You feel the same thing, but Oscar just explains it to you in the broader terms.
It has been a pleasure traveling with you. This should be proof enough of our travels. I hope you never read this. Tell my family I still love them. You are the best friends I ever had. Take care of each other.
I hope.
Maverick.
Do I hear
hope
him
you don't
reading this
read
at all?
this.
If you want to, yeah. If you want to be like getting closer and
What does she mean
listening, you
by
can.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope you don't read this.
I just
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know what the
what
time frame
is-
is.
Why
Like-
would we not read it?
You see as some of
Maybe
the
if she was
words
still with us.
as you're reading it begin to change tenses, like past tense,
Yep,
future
okay.
tense. Like, you are the best friends I ever had. You are the best friends I will have. You are the best friends I have. You are the best friends I ever had and shall never have again. Like, you see the text begin to like shift, the blood begin to like
tense of
seep,
it.
the tense of it like shifting constantly in flux, back and forth. It's like I think the most daunting part of it is the part like, I hope you never read this. I wish you never read this. I wish I never helped you. I wish you were dead. I wish you were alive. I wish I saved you. A bunch of different iterations of different ways they would have started to write the same letter with different feelings in that moment keep resurging and forcing themselves as the blood, like those waterproof canvases, the blood keeps shifting through the creases.
Well, I mean, I guess if we ever come across an Uriel, that may
Prove useful.
be worth something, but
You also notice that before you like started reading it, the words weren't shifting. It's almost like with that 17, like especially for you, now that you've read it and you have the knowledge of what is there, it is also in flux. What it is saying is in flux. Like things are changing. The possibilities, the branching is open.
knowing what path she ended up going down, I don't know exactly how to feel about that.
Yeah.
You can be next to them now if you like.
It's all
What's going on, guys?
just breakfast. You need anything before we get going?
Like chomp on like one of the metal.
The metal
things.
carafe, you just yeah. So you don't have like a mouth that opens, so you just make the mouth sound and suck it through the iris that opens up in your arm to like suck the metal through, as you pantomime it.
Is that you for breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Want some?
Has it already come out? I'm assuming I already ate it.
We had our own.
There's like this half melted carafe in his hand.
Thanks for the offer, but we got our own kind of food.
So what's the plan?
I think we're asking more questions.
Yeah, there's a couple things I could use some answers to.
As long as Mr. Grandmaster, whatever, is up to answering them.
You hear like footfalls. Oh, there you are. You.
Miss Queen.
I don't like that. Queenie's fine.
Just Queen.
Nope.
Buzzer.
My pronouns are they, them, but
Just Queenie.
definite article will work just fine. Thank you. So, you good? You sleep? Do you enjoy the craft services? I know I do.
The breakfast was delicious.
It is indeed. I
Very
feel like one
impressive.
thing, like I don't always like being inside his like mind space thing, but
One kind of like, where does the food come from? Like, if we're in his head?
you ever see magic make food before?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, magic can make food. It can materialize.
Oh, yeah.
things.
Styrian used to make berries. Is it
Oh,
that?
like good berry. Yes. No, I can do that. And they go like, I have a bunch of these.
Is it like those?
Yes, but it's a little less
Invigorating.
utilitarian.
Yeah.
Okay. Just glad to know it wasn't like you
Not
eat it,
eating his
it,
pages or something.
dissolves in your stomach.
No,
or
it's just
something goes away.
materialized magic through, that type of thing. Just same thing when I summon fire, water, any other type of matter. It's just matter.
Okay. I could use some fire water.
We did get a long rest, yes.
I suppose fire isn't matter, but yes, you got a long rest.
And we're still level 9.
Ask again, see what happens.
You say that, and it still takes forever for us to level up, so.
Almost like if you keep asking, it takes longer.
I will
It's
turn
actually
this
taking-
car around.
It's actually taking us less time than it has Argent Flame, so.
That is true.
So
yeah.
anyway,
we've gotten here.
I have to get
faster.
I have to get back to work because I have a lot of things to do.
Yeah, just show us the way out.
I mean, you just think it
Ah,
and just keep walking. Just like how you got here, I suppose.
The way out.
Inner sanctum,
Way
inner
out.
sanctum, inner sanctum,
Oof.
inner sanctum.
I mean, I would have chosen different words, but that's fine. Okay. And you guys just all start walking down eventually until you find yourself back in where the pillar is. And everything is just out and about in the inner sanctum.
Hello, Scatterbrain?
Maybe
There's a
don't
book that comes
call
up to you,
that.
like, flies up to you, like, I'll have you know that Scatterbrain was my brother's first roommate's cousin's middle name. Legally got it changed to in order to prevent this type of miscommunication. We went to the same college, you understand. But anyway, I'm busy. What do you need?
These
The illusion is gone. Every once in a while, just a book that happens to be nearby.
questions for you.
Yes, yesterday you said you could point me to books on the primordial.
A couple pages from the bookcases and shelves start to like change into origami figures that represent a small version of his head and mouth and move and fold in a type of way. Yes, you are looking for what was it? Yes, some primeval information. What in specific were you looking for?
Anything around the there's a word for it. The deities.
Oh yes, the pantheon,
Yes.
the current pantheon. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean their origins and how that relates to the primordial.
Yes, specifically on the war between them and the primevals, or
Yes.
are you looking for more religious studies on a particular portfolio?
No, just them and the primevals.
Okay. Yes. It is difficult information. I believe I only have 2 texts on the subject, but here, and they present that. You can spend some time with this information, and Ultier will kind of like walk you through a couple things. Basically, what a lot of this information tells is about there was once a time. A lot of this stuff seems to be like doesn't have sources because they seem to be like writing the information as they have remembered it as best they can because of so much was lost during like the fire holes and all this other stuff. But they're doing the best. But it looks elegantly written, and there you can see a bunch of other books are constantly being written in, constantly, trying to keep up with what was stolen, what was lost, what was stolen. There's information about how there was a time in which the magic was still part of the world. Or was part of the world, and the beings that inhabited the world were less, let's say, like organized religion as much as like spirits, spiritual traditions, like the land, the sea, the sky, the fire, the earth, the mother, the water, the father, that type of thing. You see the word Pita being thrown in there every once in a while, and some other words, definitely in primordial, but like old dialects of primordial, like very old dialects of primordial, that have insinuations as to which that these entities did hold some sort of not like office, and not throne, like not specific place of power or said worship me, worship me, worship me, but were just inherently part of the world in which that the power that was given to them by the credence that people put into it. And because of that, at one point it tells how there were, nobody knows where these came from, but like a new pantheon, what was called the Virgin Pantheon, at least that's the correct name for it, but nobody really calls it that, came along and coveted this ability of the populace of this world to be able to give power to an idea by just giving it credence and belief, and decided to then take that power of the populace for themselves by eliminating all that they could believe in other than themselves. So, like actually going and destroying these personified ideas of fire, wind, water, elemental, like sky, mountain, whatever it may be, spiritual ancestors of like the forgotten, like more abstract ideas given form, thought, and belief. So we're thinking more. And there's definitely something to be said about how there's Oneida influences and like Iroquois influences and other Native American influences of like how they've respected the land, the world as it was and as it was its own entity and its own mind, and deserved that type of respect, and how similar to how some religions go and kill off a bunch of people that believe in a certain religion and then adapt their religion to have some similarities of it to make it easier for those previous people to convert to the new religion, is kind of what happened here. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of genocide that was happening with that too. Those that would not convert were smited. And that's how we now currently have our pantheon. Now, technically, there's a lot of very generic names in the current Virgin Pantheon, as it's called, when it comes to the mountain under the mountain, the dark and the dark. They don't really have names of actual words in the common tongue as much as they have titles and offices, and you see like there's editors' notes of like, oh, this is what done on purpose so that they could still include the belief systems of those that were still worshiping the old primeval deities in some sort of like surreptitious way. But there's also, you see, like, as you like start to get to the end of this research information, like there's notes actively being written in it. Like you can see that it's continuing to be written, and some of the most recent stuff that's currently being written as you're reading it is information about how perhaps not all of the primeval entities, their followers, and the powers that were investitured were actually destroyed and obliterated and like cast into oblivion. Perhaps some fled and survived, and there is rumored to be something called the resurgence, which is the primevals try to take back what is their ancestral home as more and more people quietly worship them in secret.
Nothing about the Ichor during this time?
Not during this time. That you see here, no. This appears to be a removed part of history than as far as that is concerned. Different parts of Ichor probably either wasn't around at this time, or there's no notes about that here. But that's what you get from that information.
Okay.
No check required. This is just, you are in a library, an Athenaeum, and you have access to a bunch of information. He's done his best to help. What about you?
You have any books on like the traditions and rituals of the primeval of Wada?
Yes, fewer broad strokes and a little bit more precise, yes.
It's pronounced breaststroke.
Yes, a good pun indeed. Welcome, good kudos. There is, to save you some time with role-playing, I think one of the... Is there specifically something that you're looking for?
I mean, if you have it, there's any sort of like cleansing rituals, like... I don't know what the right term is. I think... I mean, water washes all things clean, yes?
Talking about cleansing for our thing or for...
Cleansing
your
for
thing?
anything, if it exists. I mean,
'cause-
that's
Because for our thing, I've got another solution. We might be able to explore. But if you're talking about your thing, then I can't help you with.
my role here is to cleanse this place of what is polluting the seas.
Ah, yes.
So, if there's something here in this library that can help me do that job, I would appreciate you pointing me in that direction.
I'll do my best. Much of this more specific information has been catalogued and then receptacled into the monastic
So they would
records.
have more
Yes,
along those
I'll see what I can find, though. A moment.
Seems like the trip to the temple is probably our next best bet here.
Let me see what I can find.
They're gonna want to know about this.
Yes, I can't believe I didn't write this down, but I was literally writing stuff about this deep cut lore last night. Cool. So there is the word pita that you have heard before, which means like the land. It's an old primordial term that means the land, the mother. There appears to be notes by the author here that this is only, as language is constantly evolving and all words are made up, this is only something that we have, the closest thing that we have to what the primordial name for this is. This actual true name most likely is lost to time in a language that was lost much long ago, but the author is well aware that none of the information that is possible that they can come up with is the true names of what it is they're going to come up with.
Well, our experience with true names has been 0 of 1 so far, so maybe that's okay.
Yeah.
The information that you see here, though, is twofold. One is actually not necessarily exactly what you were looking for, but it seems to be related somehow. But we'll talk about the other one first. There seems to be some information about how there was at one point a schism on what is actually personifies the portfolio of water, deep water, whether it was this one belief system or this other belief system. Was it the deep and the tempest, and it being unforgiving, it being this unforgiving mistress that is hell, like sea is hell, because it is unrelenting and it's constantly changing, and you have to respect it and you cannot underestimate it? Or is it the serenity of it that is only responds to how much energy you put into it, like water, and like reverberate in the way where, like, if it can be destructive, but is it more neutral? And there was this big old schism between the two of them, to the point where there was not a war, but not a battle. It was a feud. A feud between two ideologies that at one point left the other in the dust. The one that thought that was neutral was left in the dust. And there was a point where the author or whatever information, whoever might have been researching it, or the second hand by third hand by fourth hand by fifth hand, have feared for their safety of continuing to research this more, as the followers of such became more and more ornery and ornery and ornery. extremely out of character as such, and the author suspected that something is wrong. This is not what water really is. And there were tales of dreams slowly becoming nightmares, and that this psychosis of not being able to get sleep without nightmares, and things from their nightmares sometimes finding actuality and materialization in the physical, causing like lunacy, and it kind of fades from there. A more of adjacent text that you find is a document of the fall of Azulia Scala. Azulia Scala was once the capital, as it says here, the capital of the Celendian Empire, an ancient elven city directly in the middle of the west of the continent of CrestVahllen, and was a gorgeous city. It was the seat of power. Emperor Celendus was there. He had a daughter that was there. Her name was right here. Her name was Yaskrin Celendus. Yaskr, and then I with like the long line over it rather than the umlaut. A long flat line. N. Yaskrin. There talks about how, like, when she was born, the city where they decided to begin their peaceful diminutive control over this continent began in Azulia Scala, or began to be built. There are references to magics that were harvested, but no information on what they were harvested from, and somehow consolidated. And then it moves into it's more of just kind of like the history of the city itself, and just talk about this person was the seat of power here. This person was the daughter of the person the seat of power. This person was also in the court. This is where like a bunch of magic was harvested. And this is the fall and then this was the fall of the Azulia Scala. It's like talk about Rome, and then how it fell. And the fall of the Azulia Scala was a magical or nobody really knows what the origin of it, but there was a cataclysmic implosion, cataclysmic event that caused the land, kind of like a nuke, that caused the land itself to like be shattered in an instant, where a bunch of pieces of Azulia Scala just stopped existing all at once. And there was like this wave of there was some type of wave, a bunch of pieces of Azulia Scala stopped existing all at once, including thousands of square miles of land that it was sitting upon, and fracturing the land itself and many of its denizens, and the whole thing just collapsed and fell into the sea. Or at least a large portion of it did. Much of it collapsed and fell into the sea. And there are then tales of how Emperor Celendus then fled, but this is about Azulia Scala, not about Emperor Celendus, and how Yaskrin was never found and was presumed dead. And many, many, many elves were lost their lives.
Yes, very sad.
It does give you like a time period though too. This was during the hundreds of years of the stalemate during the war. This was closer to the tail end of that endeavor. What are you looking for?
A way out.
Like, just leave the Athenaeum? Cool. So, like, while they're doing research for a couple hours, you're just like, which way is the door?
I'm like, guys, have you gotten all the answers that you need? I think we've gotten everything that we're going to get out of here.
I agree with the second part, not the first part.
You want to
But
explore some more?
there's still some things I think we're best if we head back to my temple. I think the monks definitely want to know about this, but there's also some questions we can ask of them. But we got to go through the city first, and there's plenty of what we can do in the city. And he gave us a lead on who we can talk to hopefully find out how we can forge this cold iron. So I think that's probably the best plan for now. We got to get all those gold weapons forged down into coins and empty our packs and stock up on stuff for the journey.
Queenie comes about. Well, it looks like you found some information that you may have been looking for, but I know that look, and I had it myself.
When information leaves you with more questions.
Yes. The answers to many questions then create more questions. If you're going to be in town for a bit, I may have a job for you.
I think we need to hightail it to the temple.
Well,
What's
they
the
did let us
job?
stay here for free. Maybe we just hear her out.
Should the... she kind of pulls three of you aside for a moment. I have a personal matter. Has to do with a family member that was harmed by one that I am seeking.
Were they buzzing around?
I don't know. No. I get you mean. No. No. These are my friends. They are wonderful. But what I'm looking for is... Have you ever seen an individual wearing like a plague doctor's mask?
Yes, but not here.
Where?
When?
When?
769 years from now,
Okay.
we know where a person like that will be. Potentially. Maybe.
Are you saying that there's one here now?
No, I'm saying that I've been trying to find them because I owe them something.
So is this job more of a keep an eye out kind of thing?
Yes, more of that. But what could you tell me? You met someone.
Briefly in passing.
How? What was? Every detail, please.
Wow, we were in this club. It was really loud. There were lots of lights. They kind of brushed up on us. They tried to do something to us, but whatever it was didn't really take. And then they ran away. That's about all of it. But left me with a sour feeling. That's a shady individual.
It's not what I was hoping for, but if you ever come across strange creatures of flesh like clay and
You mean golems?
no, I mean a creature that changes like clay. that can change its pieces and
Like shapeshifter?
put a mouth wherever it needs to, however big it may be, and chop off torsos. An amoebic
We'll keep an
murder
eye out.
machine. But this... what do you mean by tried to do something that didn't take?
They tried to like
Did
cut
they bite
us,
you,
or
They tried to cut you.
it was like a really small knife or like
You?
a really small
They tried to cut
needle.
you?
I don't. No, it was Maeve, right? Yeah, not me. One of my friends, though.
Okay. I'm going to try. I have to do my job, but if you ever find any more information, you can use that. The what I gave you, to reach me. Hopefully.
I thought I was supposed to give that to the wizard.
Oh yes, I mean that smells like me, and that will dance like me. So if you talk to the bees, I'll get a message eventually.
Wait, what?
Use the tablet to attract some bees. And
Oh no,
talk
it's
to the
not a
bees?
tablet. It's just a wax piece of
The
paper.
yeah.
That is a spell for our friend, but it is something that I made that smells of my bees. So if you find any information, talk to the flowers, talk to the bees. Maybe I'll get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe take a piece of that so that you always have a piece of me, so they know me.
Break off a corner. Gotcha.
Yes, that'll work. That should work, yeah.
Okay.
Could you have the ability to speak to animals?
I mean, yeah, but they don't ever speak back. So
Adorable. All right. Well, that's not really the job. The job is...
We'll be seeing you later.
oh, goodness. That's not really the job.
keep an eye out. Let you know if we find anything.
Keep an eye. That's for me. The other job is we're looking for an individual known as Devleater. They're on the run, and it's part of Lady Rhea's thing about keeping up. We have another individual on the case, but they seem to be swamped with a bunch of other clandestine activities, not to mention a bunch of black powder barrels. So, we, if you can find information on Devleater, as
I've heard that name before.
our sources have apparently run dry. It would be much appreciated. It was a task given to us by Lady Rhea, but we're running low on abilities. Most likely in the underground, both figuratively, maybe physically, I'm not sure. But they were once part of the Noxetra, if they're not still part of the Noxetra.
Really?
I'm sure that there would be some coffers in it for you, should you choose to be able to find it. But we also don't know where they are, if they're even still in the city. We heard that the last contact that they had was also one of the reasons that we're hunting them down is because they had a contact with someone that killed somebody on the steps of the Endless Stair near the Whatnot Temple. So stands the reason there may be some information to be found between here and there, if not here or there.
So let me get this straight. You want us to track down or find the whereabouts of this Devleater because they know about another crime that happened?
They ordered the crime to happen
Okay.
on
that
your
was-
steps,
Yes, and that was murder at the temple. Okay. Okay.
not
When-
within the temple walls. But
Yes, yes. Whenabouts was this grisly
a
act?
few weeks ago.
Who
Maybe months. It's
who was the
the
victim?
information that we get again is parsed. So
Do you know the victim?
it was someone who had not yet been accepted as an initiate into the order, who was set to clean the steps. So technically, it does not fall under the purview of all-out war for the monastic order, but
It was a grave transgression.
it is, which is one of the reasons why Lady Rhea wants it taken care of personally or quickly, but we do not have the resources of the manpower to do so. But
I think we can probably help you.
wonderful. The biggest issue that we've been having with it is the manpower, but also the fact that, Lady Ray is trying to establish more of a rapport with the monastic temples now, as much as decayed over the ages. So, not unlike someone up for re-election, she's looking to take care of this as quickly and smoothly and as well as possible to prove that she can be trusted by the Order.
Well, we'll see what we can do. Can't make any promises.
Great. I mean, that's all I can ask. That's it then. Anything else you need from us?
Ian, great.
One last question for the.
I'm always amazing.
I had one last question for the High Mage. If he can still.
Little origami mouth comes up.
hear us.
What?
We spoke of this earlier, but would the monks of my order be of any assistance in your cataloging efforts? Yes, as you've said, this is a monumental task undertaken over the course of centuries, but better start now.
I would believe so, yes.
Okay.
Very much so indeed.
And they would be welcome here?
Of course, but this is... Trust is hard to come by between these types of information and these peoples for good reason. Time has not necessarily healed wounds as much as rusted chains of bonding and
Well,
companionship. So,
this is how we start that back up again.
yes, I believe what Queenie was referring to about what Lady Rhea was trying to attempt may work to help those ends. And if you have any influence upon the thing, then I would greatly accept. And I'm sure that the Protectorate would be well in your debt should you need aid in the future. Consider this. Should you be able to secure both of these tasks, I would be able to offer you instantaneous transport across the continent at a word. If I'm available, that is.
That's a
To
powerful
places
gift.
I'm familiar with, that is, of course, as well. But you must understand that this is an investment of my time, power, and energy as well, and this is more about trust than it is about capability.
At one point, you were looking for one of your temples deep in the wood. Do you know?
Oh, I found it.
Oh, you.
It's been about 100 years there.
Oh. Never mind then.
That
You
was
just got to
my-
make your way back there now.
That was my journey in the past.
Oh, fantastic.
Do you know of anywhere on like the southwesternmost coast that you can send us to?
Near Servach?
Unfortunately, the genius loci in that particular area, I have her name here somewhere. She's quite hold on. I know I have it here. Oh, yes, Oja is her name. Specifically created things like the Flamewood and the Haze Fells to prevent those types of things. Her influence on the spirits do affect the breath of life too. I can try, but you may end up deep within the Flamewood and exposed to hundreds of explosions all at once.
That's okay. We can make our way
I could
by more
possibly get you.
conventional means to my temple.
sounds
It's
fun.
it's pretty close.
I could get you to the
relatively speaking.
stocks, but that's about as far as I could go.
We'll work on those tasks for the time being.
Of course.
Okay.
Worry about destinations later. Unless you could send us to the Wanate Temple now.
I could, yes.
Save us a trip.
True, but I think part of those tasks are we'll find along the journey. We'd have to backtrack.
It's a fair point.
Maybe, or we can just
I
shortcut
mean,
there.
that's a good point because I could go there too, but again, I wouldn't be allowed in. You would be, but I could go there too. But whatever is being done there is probably already being done there by people that know what they're doing. So it's
Yeah, we
most
can
likely about
Search
canvassing
along
the
the
area
road would
between.
be more
yes.
fruitful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the hospitality, the meal.
Oh, and I almost forgot. This
Knowledge.
is for you.
And there is a very old, like it appears like there were vines grown on this type of like brass golden cylinder that appears to have this like elven filigree on it, but like were then pulled. But the silhouette of where they once were and where like parts of it were covered from the rust or from the decay would still show there as kind of like veins of gold or brass. This like opened hollowed cylinder. It seems to have some type of gem or arcane inscriptions upon it.
This is no longer functional, and as I would never give someone a functional weapon, but this was a gift from Orja herself, and I believe you may be able to learn something from it. The ancient, it doesn't translate from Elvish, but one of the ancient. The best I can translate it, it's somewhat of an arcane canon, no longer functional, but perhaps you were looking for blueprints. Not sure why Orja had one, but
So it's like part of an arcane canon.
It's like an old, decayed, like not rusted, but just no longer functioning arcane cannon. Like if you found like an old weapon, like buried in shit, archaeological dig type of thing.
Got you.
the ancient elves used to use that to assert their supremacy, or at least they were starting to, but...
Do we know if it uses gunpowder?
Oh, no, it uses magic.
What type of magic?
The magic of the wielder. But it's no longer functional. Perhaps you may be able to put it to a better use other than wasting away or murdering.
Well, murdering's kind of what I do.
Yes, sometimes I forget your kind were made to fight a war. Well, perhaps...
But I could murder for the right reasons.
Or perhaps you could find a greater purpose. Here's hoping. All right, well, I mean, I have work to do. So.
Say thank you.
Manners.
Yes, normally we say thank you after a gift is given.
I'm just still confused by this cannon. Sorry.
Why would you give me a gun that doesn't work?
Yeah, well, I'm like, why are you giving me a gun that
You
doesn't
said
work?
you wanted something, but I'm not going to give you a weapon that works. So there you go.
Okay.
Well,
It's an artifact.
I guess I'll...
Once
If
again,
anybody can figure out how
You
it
could
works,
learn
it's
something
probably
from
you.
it, perhaps.
Oh,
Knowledge is power. Goodbye.
And the doors just close as you're shoved out.
thank you for your hospitality.
You're welcome.
Where's the artificers?
Well, the temple is nestled. Well, it starts in the foothills, but goes up into the Razorfang Mountains.
Okay,
You may find some artificers near there.
let's go.
Oh, you also know of like a nice little like garbage chute that goes right into Thilmore Bed from the temple.
Okay.
It's a long ride, but it's a fun one, and it is very dangerous because someone who's not as dexterous as a monk can get like knocked the fuck out and their face destroyed from just all the bumps.
So yeah, there's that.
Okay. Well, I
Cool.
guess let's
But,
go.
Yeah, we've got some business in the city on our way out. We need to provision ourselves, but
Cool. And I will give
To
you
the
guys.
temple.
I made an older map of like the actual
mapping out parts of the city. So I'll make sure you guys get access to that as well, and you can be like, hey, what's here, and I'll not. But that will be, I believe, all for tonight. Then.
Cool.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you for supporting the Faith Files and Gluten Talk and the Burn Ends. So that'll be up soon too. And as always, stay safe out there. Bye.